In the music industry, a platinum record is a triumph. It means 1 million souls bought into your vision. But there is a ceiling above that, a rare, oxygen-thin atmosphere where only the giants breathe. To reach diamond status, an album must shift 10 million units in the US alone. Today, we are climbing the mountain of the 15 absolute best-selling albums in American history. These are the pillars of music, featuring the latest 2026 RIAA audits. We begin our climb at number 15 with the powerhouse soundtrack to The Bodyguard. Moving 18 million units, this remains the gold standard for cinematic music. Driven by Whitney Houston's peerless vocal performance on I Will Always Love You, it proved that a film score could dominate the pop charts just as effectively as any studio album.
We were on a mission searching for songs for The Bodyguard. What would be the song that is going to make this movie tie together? Kevin and I, of course, went through. Kevin's a music lover, so he knows all the old songs, new songs. He loves it. So he kind of went through his little collection, and he came up with songs that he thought were, suitable for the movie. And I had some songs of my own. Well, one day I was in the trailer, and we heard Dolly Parton's song before, and I said I wouldn't buy it, because it was a country version, and I really wasn't listening.
Next day he called. He said, "I've got it. I Will Always Love You." I heard it, and I immediately heard the finished record in my brain, along with the key change and the big boom.
From the soaring vocals of Hollywood's greatest soundtrack, we shift to the raw energy of the Sunset Strip. At 14, Guns N' Roses and Appetite for Destruction. Also sitting at 18 million, this was the antidote to the 80s pop metal scene.
I think that since it was such an outrageous picture, that the skill and the talent involved in making it gets overlooked, and I wanted to be a part of showing people, no, this is art.
Featuring the delay-driven guitar riff of Welcome to the Jungle, it serves as the perfect stage for Axl Rose's pharyngeal rasp, a vocal technique that allowed him to howl with raw power without losing the melody.
Reminds me of childhood memories where everything on this world down the bright.
While Axl Rose brought the grit of the city, our next artist brought the heart of the country to the masses. Number 13 is Garth Brooks and No Fences. This 18 million seller was the moment country music truly went mainstream.
Now they hoping they'll find a new way to fly.
With the era-defining hit Friends in Low Places, Brooks blended Nashville storytelling with a rock and roll energy that transformed him into a global phenomenon.
Cause I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns.
As Garth Brooks was conquering the charts, a new queen of country pop was preparing to break every record in the book. At 12, Shania Twain's Come On Over, moving 20 million units. This is the best-selling studio album by a female artist in US history. Shania's fusion of country grit and pop perfection broke every rule in the book, delivering an incredible 12 singles from a single 16-track record.
Man, I feel like a woman. You're still the one I run to, the one I belong to.
Shania redefined the modern pop crossover, but our next group turned internal band Heartbreak into a 21 million selling masterpiece. At 11, Fleetwood Mac's Rumours.
So rock on, ancient queen. Follow those who failed in your.
This masterclass in soft rock perfection shifted 21 million units, recorded amidst internal band turmoil that transformed personal heartbreak into crystalline harmonies.
By the time we got up to Sausalito to start recording Rumors, Stevie and I, although not quite as well defined, were estranged, we're not living together, we'd, for all intents and purposes, broken up. John and Christine McVie were divorced.
Everybody was breaking up, and of course that always adds for really great songwriting. So that happened very fast too. And I think that, you know, when we first joined the band, everybody wasn't breaking up, so it was still pretty copacetic. When we went into Rumors, everybody was, so it was much more, there was a kind of a passion thing that was going on and some anger, but still we never let that get in the way. That was never brought into the studio. So that was outside. And so, but what was brought into the studio was great words, great poems, great music, and everybody dug it, you know, even though we were all kind of in chaos, everybody was like, well, that was great.
You could go your own way.
The friction between the band members created a tension that translated into some of the most intimate and enduring songs in music history. From the sophisticated harmonies of the 70s, we moved to the soulful, rootsy sound that dominated the 90s alternative scene. Entering the top 10 with 22 million sales is Hootie and the Blowfish and Cracked Rear View. A juggernaut of the mid-90s, its soulful sound resonated with a massive audience, proving that heartfelt songwriting could still conquer the world in the age of grunge.
That band's most successful album, the multi-platinum Cracked Rear View, is the 16th all-time best-selling album in the United States. By the end of the 90s, Hootie and the Blowfish had sold millions of albums and won 2 Grammys.
She never lets me in, only tells me where she's been.
Hootie brought a sense of comfort to the airwaves, but our next entry is a sprawling psychological rock opera that explores the darkest corners of the mind. Number 9 is Pink Floyd and The Wall.
I feel.
Shifting 23 million units, this rock opera is a sprawling psychological exploration of isolation and trauma.
Where did the idea for The Wall come from?
Well, it started with a theatrical idea. We did a gig in '77 in Montreal for when we were touring Animals as Pink Floyd, and I was very disaffected by being in football stadiums with people who seemed not all that interested in what we were doing. And I'm told, obviously I can't remember this anymore now, but I'm told that I actually spat on somebody who was trying to get up on the stage. And disgusted as I was by my actions, I thought about it deeply and lost quite a lot of sleep. And during that loss of sleep, I thought, what a great theatrical idea it would be to do a rock and roll concert and to physically build a wall across the front of the stage while the concert's going on, just to demonstrate how much alienation there is potential for in that. And then the record came after that theatrical idea.
Its massive production and theatrical scale made it one of the most ambitious and successful double albums ever conceived. Pink Floyd's studio concept was a technical marvel, yet our next artist proved that the raw energy of a live performance could be just as valuable. At 8, Garth Brooks returns with Double Live.
If I'd only known how the king would fall.
Also at 23 million, this collection captures Brooks at the height of his powers. Benefiting from the RIAA's rule of counting each disc in a multi-album set, it stands as a testament to the sheer scale of his 90s stadium tours. While Garth Brooks was filling stadiums, a New York piano man was busy compiling a catalogue of hits that would define the American songbook. At 7, Billy Joel's Greatest Hits, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Moving 23 million units, this collection solidified Joel as the preeminent American songwriter of his era. From Piano Man to Uptown Girl, these tracks bridge the gap between Broadway theatricality and pure rock and roll.
When she's walking, she's looking so fine.
Billy Joel mastered the art of the pop rock single, but the next group on our list changed the very fabric of music with their most experimental work. Number 6 is The Beatles and their self-titled masterpiece, known as The White Album.
Blackbird fly.
Shifting 24 million units, this diverse record captured the Fab Four at their most avant-garde, ranging from the gentle Blackbird to the heavy proto-metal roar of Helter Skelter. The Beatles laid the groundwork for experimental rock, but it was the next band who refined that power into the ultimate hard rock blueprint. Entering the top 5 is Led Zeppelin 4.
Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run.
Also at 24 million, this remains the absolute pinnacle of rock craftsmanship. From the ethereal Stairway to Heaven to the pulverizing Black Dog, its status is bolstered by Jimmy Page's mystical production and the band's refusal to even put their name on the sleeve.
There were various things that happened like that. The fact that we were routining Stairway to Heaven there. And it was tricky going through it without having any sort of sung verses to it. And while we were going through it and everyone was learning it, Robert was writing the lyrics in the same room. He was sitting down there and writing on his pad, and then he eventually came to the microphone and started singing, and it was like, wow, this is really, we're really onto something here, because his lyrics were superb on it.
Zeppelin defined the 70s rock sound, but as the decade turned, a band from Australia delivered the hardest-hitting tribute in history. At 4, AC/DC's Back in Black. The highest-selling studio rock album in history with 27 million units. It is a lean, mean masterpiece of indomitable spirit, written and recorded in just 60 days following the tragic death of Bon Scott as the ultimate hard rock tribute.
Going into the studio at night or during the day, and Mud get me in and saying, come on, because he'd have the guys work late at night, and he'd get me in about 12 to do some vocals and stuff. And that bit I just don't remember. Actually physically standing there and singing them, I just cannot remember it, because it was one after the other, the day after day.
AC/DC conquered with high-voltage riffs, but the top 3 begins with a cinematic journey through the dark side of the California dream. In third place, the Eagles and Hotel California. Moving 28 million units, this is a cinematic exploration of the dark side of the American dream. Its iconic twin guitar solo and haunting lyrics perfectly captured the transition from the idealism of the 60s to the cynicism of the 70s.
You're back out on the street.
What is it about that song that has made it so successful?
So I think it was a special combination of Don singing, a really beautiful vocal performance, his lyrics, the music that we started off with, the chord progression that I wrote for the song, and the incredible guitar stuff that Joe and I did at the very end of it. All of those elements together in one song.
The Eagles painted a portrait of a generation, but the man at number 2 created a global pop phenomenon that simply had no equal. The second highest selling album of all time, Michael Jackson and Thriller. With 34 million units, this is the album that redefined the music video and broke racial barriers on MTV.
Every time I get a platinum album, it's never taken lightly on my behalf. I'm always honored, and it's great thanks. very happy that the public enjoy what I do, and I'll continue to put my heart into my work.
It remains a global titan of pop perfection, blending funk, rock and soul into a singular world-conquering vision. Michael Jackson may be the king of pop, but the top spot belongs to a collection of songs that define the very sound of American radio. Finally, we reach the summit. This record represents the ultimate anthology of a band that mastered the art of the harmony and the perfect radio hook, capturing a specific era of West Coast sun and soft rock sophistication. With a historic 2026 certification pushing it to a staggering 40 million units moved, the most successful album in American history is their greatest hits, 1971 to 1975 by the Eagles. Bob Dylan didn't make this list, but he is one of the most covered artists of all time. To find out his 3 favourite cover versions of his songs, click the thumbnail on screen.